Hey everybody, welcome to another director ranking, and this is my second time I ever done a director ranking where I rank every film from a director from my least favorite to my favorite. The first one I did, which wasn't too long ago, was Quentin Tarantino. Now we're at Kevin Smith. Yes, Kevin Smith. Okay, Kevin Smith is a director that I personally really like a lot. Like, he's one of my all-time favorite directors, and I also like him just as a person. Like, he's just a really cool dude. He seems like the coolest guy to hang out with, And he has like a mixed bag of a filmography. Like, about most of his films aren't great, and I'm just being honest. So sorry, Kevin Smith fans, but as a film buff, this is what I say about his films. Most of them aren't great, but they're not all terrible. Like, actually, only one of his films, in my opinion, is really bad. All the others, even the ones that aren't that great, there's still some good. They still have good moments about them. They still got some good stuff about them. So yeah, Kevin Smith, I mean, his early stuff gets a lot of love, but his later stuff doesn't very much. But I'm a huge fan. I love the guy, so I decided to do a ranking for him, ranking all 13 of his films. That is all 13 of his films that he directed, and of course they're all just like feature length films because he also did. A segment in a anthology horror film called Holidays. I'm not including that one. In fact, I've never even seen it before. So, but even if I have, I still want to include it because it's not. He wasn't the only director of that film, so he only did the Halloween segment. Yeah, okay. All 13 of his films, from my least favorite to my favorite. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, all 13. Okay. So my number 13 is a very obvious one. Most people will say this is their least favorite. Either this or my number 12. We'll get to my number 12 when we get there. But my number 13, like I said before, I think he's only done one terrible film. And this is my number and it's my number 13. My number 13 is Cop Out. Yeah, this movie is terrible. This is definitely easily his worst film. And the only one that I can't stand, that I don't think I will ever watch ever again. And yes, I know I own the Blu-ray, but I'm getting rid of this as soon as possible because this is the only one. I own all of his films, by the way, but this is the only one I don't want to have. Even my number 12 isn't great either, but it does have some good moments, so I will keep that one. But this is one of the most boring movies I have ever seen. Yes, and it's a comedy movie. Like, I don't know about you, but sometimes there will be comedy movies that are not funny at all. That they're not funny to the point that they're boring. They're so not funny that they're boring. This is one of those films. Another example is probably Daddy's Home 2. That movie sucked also, because it was just so boring. Well, Mel Gibson was kind of funny, but that's about it. But yeah, I think Daddy's Home 2 is actually better than this, because at least Mel Gibson was funny. Nobody in this movie is funny, and you got Tracy Morgan and Bruce Willis and Sean William Scott, but this movie still sucks. And I should mention, this is the only one out of his filmography that doesn't even feel like a Kevin Smith film. That's because he didn't write it. Yes, this is the only film out of his filmography where he didn't write, he only directed. And yeah, that really proves that this movie sucks. I mean, if the writing was decent, then maybe this would be an okay film, but no, it's not. This is a terrible film, Cop Out. Don't ever watch this movie. I don't recommend it at all. Like, if you want to binge Kevin Smith's films, that's fine, but skip this one. This one sucks. If you like the movie, then good for you. I don't. but I don't understand how you do, because this movie is just terrible. But anyways, my number 13 is Cop Out. Yeah. Okay, my number 12. Now, a lot of people hate this movie. I don't hate this movie. I have to be honest. I don't hate it, but it's definitely not good. Now, my number 12 is Yoga Hosers. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think... Okay, it's not a good movie. Not at all. Not a good movie. But I don't think it's terrible, to be honest. This is me. I don't think it's terrible because it's got some good moments, I have to be honest. The best thing about this movie, though, is the Bratzies, all played by Kevin Smith. Yes, they're definitely the best thing about this film. And also, it has some good cameos, like Stan Lee does a cameo in this film, which he does a cameo in a better film, in a better Kevin Smith film. We'll get to that much later, but he does a good job in this. He does a pretty good cameo in this, and also Jason Mewes, who plays Jay in the Views Universe Kevin Smith films. That's the Views Universe is the movies that have, that all take place in the same world, and they all have Jay and Silent Bob in them, and we'll get to those much later. But yeah, Jason Mewes is also in this movie, and even Johnny Depp is in this. And he plays the exact same character as he played in Tusk, and we'll get to that later. But I gotta say, I kind of like Johnny Depp in this better than I did in Tusk. Like, I don't know, he was actually kind of funny. As for the two leads, who are Lily Rose Depp, Johnny Depp's daughter, and Harley Quinn Smith, who is Kevin Smith's daughter, they're okay. They're the same characters that they played were also in Tusk, and I kind of like them a little bit better, even though they're just barely in the movie. This, they're the lead characters, but I don't know. They're okay. I mean, I think their performances are fine, but they're not very funny in this. I thought they were pretty funny in Tusk. This one, not really. But although Harley Quinn Smith did have a line that was a reference to Clerks. She said, "I'm not even supposed to be here today," like Dante. That was pretty funny. I liked that. But yeah, it's not, other than the Bratzies and some funny stuff from the cameos, it's not really that funny. Like the actual jokes in the film aren't really funny. That's the biggest thing about this film that sucks. But other than that, it's okay to me. I mean, I don't hate it. It's definitely not good, but it's okay. Yoga Hosers, that's my number 12. All right, my number 10. No, my number 11. Sorry, my number 11. This, along with with Cop Out, they were the only ones I didn't mention when I mentioned Cop Out, but they were the only ones that I never seen before until I did this. Started doing this ranking, and I gotta say, this next one, my number 11, gets mixed reviews. Like, there's actually a lot of people that like this movie and say it's underrated, but I don't think this is that great of a film, to be honest. My number 11 is Red State. I do think it's a pretty good script. Like, Kevin Smith actually wrote. This is probably one of his best scripts. I really like this idea about these crazy Catholic people who murder gay people, like, which is fucked up, yes. But that's a interesting idea for a horror film, and especially since this is the only non-comedy from Kevin Smith, it's okay. It's not too bad. But and also I should mention, it does have good performances. Like, John Goodman is in this movie, and John Goodman's always great, and also Michael Parks plays the villain. Michael Parks, he was also very good. Although I like him better in Tusk, and we'll get to that later. But they were the best parts about this film. Also, Stephen Root, he wasn't too bad either. But like, some of the other actors aren't really that great in this film. And I don't know, it's just not that great of a movie, in my opinion. Now, however, if they had the original ending to this film, I'm not gonna say what it is because it'll spoil the actual ending of this film. But if they had the original ending to this film, I would probably like it a lot better. It would probably go up higher on the ranking. But I understand why they didn't do that ending, because let's just say, they didn't have, there was no way that they could afford it because it would cost a bunch. I'm not going to say what happened because it'll spoil the ending of the film, but it's, but I would actually like this movie better if it did have that ending. But yeah, it's okay. Red State is okay. I kind of wish I liked it better than I did, but I didn't really love it. It's okay. It's number 11, Red State. Yeah. Okay, my number 10. All right, my number 10. This one, I don't know. It's funny, but I don't necessarily like it that much. It's Zack and Miri make a porno. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of there's some good moments about it, and it is funny. I have to say, this movie's actually pretty funny, but I don't know. There's just something off about it. I don't really care for it too much. Seth Rogen is good though. Don't get me wrong. This was back when Seth Rogen was awesome. Back when his movies were just every single one of them were great. Knocked Up, 4-Year-Old Virgin, Super Bad even, but and Pineapple Express. But yeah, this one it's okay. And the fact that it's a Kevin Smith movie with Seth Rogen, that's interesting. Also, I love Craig Robinson. He's my favorite in this, but Craig Robinson's great. And also, you also have Jason Mewes in this film as well, playing a character that's very similar to Jay, but it's still a different character. And also, the guy who plays Randall from Clerks is also in this, Jeff Anderson. Yeah, then there's Jason Mewes, yeah. So, I mean, that's like the only proof that this is a Kevin Smith film, is that they're in it. But, actually, I do have to mention, I kind of like the story a little bit because, I don't know, I have to say, Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks, they have pretty good chemistry. Like, probably one of the best things about the film is their chemistry. And, yeah, and this, like I said, okay, it still kind of feels like a Kevin Smith film. Like, it does have that comedy in it, for sure. But it also kind of feels like a Judd Apatow film, who's the director of 4-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up. It does feel like one of those kind of films. And I do like those movies as well, but I'm more of a Kevin Smith fan. But, Zack and Miri, it's okay. It's not great, but at least it's funny. It has its moments. Zack and Miri Make a Porno is number 10. Yeah. Okay, now the rest of these I do like. So, yeah, okay. My number 9, my number 9 is one of Kevin Smith's most divisive films. When this came out, people hated this film. Kevin Smith fans and critics hated this movie, which I get why Kevin Smith fans hated it, because this was the very first film that he did without Jay and Silent Bob. It was the first non-View Askew Universe film. But I don't know. I actually like this movie. My number 9 is Jersey Girl. I don't think it's terrible. It's not great. This movie does have a lot of flaws, but it's okay. It's harmless in my opinion. I think it's all right. Ben Affleck is very good in the film. Also, I really like Liv Tyler. This movie made me have a crush on Liv Tyler. George Carlin is pretty good and funny in this. And also just, he's actually really good just as an actor in this film. In fact, I think this was maybe the first, I think this was his last film, actually, George Carlin. And he's actually pretty good. And the girl, too, I can't remember her name, but she's actually really good, too. I think it's okay. I don't think this is a terrible film. I kind of get the hate for it, just because it does have a lot of flaws. And I definitely get it from Kevin Smith fans. But it's okay. It's not terrible in my opinion. Jersey Girl, yeah, it's alright. It's my number 9. Okay, my number 8. Now this one might get me some hate because a lot of people love this movie. There's probably a lot of people that will say this is their favorite Kevin Smith movie, and I get it. It's definitely one of his best films. But it is my least favorite View Askew Universe film. We're now into the View Askew Universe films. But my number 8 is Dogma. Yeah, I said it. I don't love Dogma like a lot of people do. But it is a good movie. Don't get me wrong. It is very good, and it's really funny. This movie is probably one of Kevin Smith's funniest films. That's the reason why I like it, because it's funny. However, I'm not a fan of the story, to be honest. I mean, and just right off the bat, I'm not religious, so I don't really understand the story, which is probably a big reason why I'm not a fan of this movie, because I don't understand the story, so it drags down for me. But at least it has good comedy. Everybody in this movie is funny. You know, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Selma Hayek, Jason Lee. I really like Jason Lee in this movie, actually. He's hilarious. Even Alan Rickman is in this movie, and he's really funny. Yeah, Alan Rickman is really funny. And even Chris Rock. I don't even like Chris Rock very much, but he's really funny in this one. He's also really funny in another Kevin Smith movie we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, Dogma, it's okay. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's my number. What did I say? It's my number 8. Yeah, my number 8 is Dogma. I'm sorry if you love this film. I apologize that it's low on the list, but I like it a lot. I mean, I still like it. I don't like it a lot, but I still like it. Number 8 is Dogma. Okay, my number 7. Now, this one, people might be like, what? You like this better than Dogma? I do. Now, I will agree, Dogma is definitely a better film, because this is probably the worst View Askew Universe film. It's not good. But as a Kevin Smith fan, I do enjoy this film. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's great either. But I still enjoy it. That's Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Yes, his latest film. For now, that is. He is going to do Clerks 3. He's making Clerks 3 at the moment. And I can't wait for that. They'll probably come out next year. I can't wait for that. But Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, it's alright. It is funny. I'll give it that. Not every joke in the movie lands, though. And there's actually quite a few references I don't really get. But because this movie does have a lot of pop culture references. And that's the thing right there. Like, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which we'll get to in a minute, has a lot of pop culture references, too. But this one is just flooded with them. It even references to his older films as well. But, you know, I get it. This was the first movie that he made after he had his heart attack. So I get it. He made this movie for his fans only. And, you know, as a Kevin Smith fan, I do like this movie. I don't love it, but I do like it. But, you know, it does have some funny moments in it. And I really like the cameos. There's some really funny cameos in this. Like, Chris Jericho. I love Chris Jericho's cameo in this as the clan leader. And also Tommy Chong, Val Kilmer, and even, you know, the actors that he used to work with, like Jason Lee and Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. They all make cameos in this, as well as some of their older characters in the View Askew universe. But yeah, and also I really like Harley Quinn Smith in this film. You can't really see her. I apologize. The camera sucks, but I really like her in this film. I like her better than I do in Yoga Hosers, and even Tusk as well. She's really good in this film. I really liked her a lot, and actually the drama in this film isn't too bad, because this movie is kind of about fatherhood, along with Jersey Girl, which I didn't even mention, but I don't know, because she plays Jay's daughter in the film, and Jason Mewes and Harley Quinn Smith, they got really good chemistry in this film. I really like their chemistry a lot, and And I think the dramatic stuff isn't too bad, honestly. Like for a movie like this, like it's actually okay. So yeah, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. That's my number 7. All right, my number 6. My number 6. I don't love this as much as a lot of Kevin Smith fans, along with Dogma, but I still enjoy it. It's a sequel. It's Clerks II. Yeah, there's actually a lot of people, a lot of Kevin Smith fans that even like this better than the first Clerks. And no, I definitely disagree with you there. But Clerks 2 is okay. I remember I first showed my cousin Clerks, and he liked it a lot. He really enjoyed that movie. And then later I showed him Clerks 2, and he hated it. He did. He hated it. And for the longest time, I didn't understand why. But then, the more I watch this, I understand why. It's not a good film. Yes, I said it. It's not a good movie. And honestly, I don't really think it should have been made. But I do think it's a good comedy movie, at least. This is a really funny movie, and it does have some good comedy in it. But it really didn't have to be made. But, whatever. We got it anyways, and it's alright in my opinion. Plus, Rosario Dawson's in this film. And I love Rosario Dawson, so, I can't really complain too much. Also, Randall is hilarious in this movie. He's definitely the best thing about it, Randall, which I love Randall in the first Clerks. Well, probably better, but he's as good as he was in the first Clerks. And hopefully he'll be as good in Clerks 3. I really hope Randall is as good as he is in Clerks 3, as he is in these two. But yeah, Clerks 2, it's alright. It's my number 6. Yeah. Okay, now we're in the top 5. My number 5, this one, a lot of Kevin Smith fans like it, and then movie people in general, movie buffs, probably don't like it. But yeah, I like it. That's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back as my number 5. This movie is hilarious, and this is probably Jason Mewes' best performance, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, he's great in all of them as Jay. I mean, he's not really a good actor in general, but when he plays Jay, he's good, And but this is probably his best performance as Jay, if I'm going to be honest. It probably is, and this movie also has great cameos as well. I love Chris Rock in this as the director of the Blunt Man and Chronic movie. Will Ferrell is all. I don't know if Will Ferrell is a cameo. Not really, but I love Will Ferrell in this movie as well as Marshall, Will, and Holly, which is ironic because his character, Marshall, Will, and Holly, is named after the characters from the TV show Land of the Lost, Marshall, Will, and Holly. And then years later, he plays Marshall in the Land of the Lost movie. That's ironic. But yeah, I really like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. It's hilarious. It's definitely one of the funniest Kevin Smith movies. And yeah, it's my number 5. Okay, my number 4 is probably going to raise some eyebrows because this is going to be an oddball of a choice. But man, I love this movie. This is another divisive film. A lot of people don't like this movie. A lot of people even say it's a bad movie, which I disagree. And then there is a fan base for this film. My number 4 is Tusk. Yes, Tusk, which is my favorite non-Views universe film. I love it. I don't know why I do, but I love it. It's hilarious. This movie is really funny, and it's not supposed to be a good movie. I do agree, but I think for what it is a good movie, and it's just a horror comedy film. That's exactly what it is. And now I have to be honest. Some of the actual comedy in the movie isn't great. Like, a lot of it isn't really that good. Like I said before, Johnny Depp is in this movie, and he's supposed to be like a comic relief, but he's not really that funny in this. I thought he was a little bit funnier in Yoga Hosers, to be honest, but But as I said before, but yeah, he's. I don't really care for him too much. And Haley Joel Osment and Genesis Rodriguez, they were okay. Uh, but the ones that steal the show is Justin Long as the main character and Michael Parks, who definitely steals the show 100%. Michael Parks is amazing as the villain in Tusk. He was great in Red State as well, but him as this crazy Canadian dude who turns Justin Long into a walrus, kind of a spoiler alert, but I don't know. That's kind of the plot of the film, anyways. But he is amazing. He is hilarious and just crazy, and definitely the best performance in the film. And I just love him in it. But yeah, Tusk is my number 4. I don't care what you say. I love Tusk. My number 4. All right, now we're in the top 3. Okay, my number 3 is maybe the funniest Kevin Smith movie ever. Like, this one makes me laugh more than any of the others. My number 3 is Mallrats. Yeah. And this one didn't do well at all when it came out, but as years went by, it got more famous and stuff, and now a lot of people love it. It's a cult classic. Mallrats is hilarious. I love everybody in this movie. Michael Rooker, Ethan Suplee, and of course Jason Lee as well as Brody. Jason Lee as Brody is just awesome. I love Brody in this film. He's one of my favorite Music Universe characters, probably after Randall and Clerks. But yeah, I love Brody and I love Jason Lee's performance as him, and so it's just a great film. And I love, and of course Stan Lee. I got to talk about Stan Lee's cameo in the movie. Amazing, probably the very first Stan Lee cameo in a movie ever. I would probably think so, because this is long before the MCU. So yeah, but this is just a hilarious film, and I love it. I love Mallrats. It's my number 3. Okay, my number 2. My number 2 is actually the only Kevin Smith movie to have a Criterion release, and I think it was like one of the first Criterions to ever come out. My number 2 is Chasing Amy. Yeah, Chasing Amy. Now, I think a lot of people today don't like this movie anymore because I don't know, like, people say that this movie does have issues. Now, I don't really want to say what they are because it will spoil the film, but I still don't really know what exactly they're talking about when they say this movie has issues, but I think what it is in terms of writing. Because this is about, okay, I will say this. This movie is about a lesbian played by Joey Lauren Adams who does happen to fall in love with a guy played by Ben Affleck. And I don't know. I guess that might be a problem for some people. Like, maybe, I think some lesbians might find that offensive or something, which I kind of get. But, you know, beside the point, I mean, I still don't really get it. So I still think this is a good movie. In fact, honestly, this is probably Kevin Smith's best film. If you take away the fact that it has issues, whether or not you think it has issues or not, I still think this is probably his best film. Although I like another one better, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you already guessed what it is by now. But Chasing Amy, I really enjoy this film. This is actually a little bit more of a drama. Now, it does have some comedy, for sure, and I love Jason Lee again. I like him better in Mallrats as Brody, but Jason Lee as Banky is pretty good, and he's really funny, too. But no, this is actually a really good drama, and honestly, probably my favorite romantic comedy, I have to be honest. It probably is. But yeah, Chasing Amy is just a really good film, and I highly recommend it. Whether or not you'll like it, I don't know. That's up to you, whether you think it is problematic or not. But I don't know. I just don't see the problems with it at the moment, at least. I still think this is a great film. And yeah, Chase and Amy, it's my number 2 favorite Kevin Smith film. And now we're at my number 1. My number 1, now this one a lot of people will probably agree with, if not Dogma or even Clerks 2, because there is a lot of people like Clerks 2. But my number 1 favorite Kevin Smith film is his debut. Same with my Tarantino ranking. I said that was Reservoir Dogs is my number 1. Or spoiler alert if you haven't seen that video yet. But my number 1 is his debut. It's Clerks, the one that started it all. Yeah, I've been hooked on. This was the movie that made me love Kevin Smith. I mean, this was my first introduction to his films, and I already knew who Kevin Smith was, but I didn't know anything about his movies until I saw Clerks, and I fell in love with this movie right away. This is an amazing comedy film. This is how you do a comedy, I think. And it's probably my favorite comedy ever made, if I'm going to be completely honest. And just a great film in general, great independence film for sure. And I love the story behind Clerks, like how this unknown director by the name of Kevin Smith, who lives in New Jersey, decides to make a movie about people working at a convenience store, and he shoots it at the convenience store that he worked at. That's awesome, That's very inspiring, and also love the fact that it's in black and white. Kind of weird that it's in black and white, but I love it. I love that it's in black and white, and it's just a great film, and it's hilarious, and it's Clerks. I mean, if you don't like Clerks, then you shouldn't even watch any of Kevin Smith's films. You shouldn't be a Kevin Smith fan if you don't like Clerks. This is an amazing film, and it's definitely his best, and definitely, well, Chase and Amy might be a little bit better in terms of story for sure, but I still love Clerks, and it's just an amazing film to me. Hilarious, and my favorite comedy. One of my all-time favorite films, if I'm going to be honest, like in my top 10 at least. But yeah, Clerks is an amazing film, and it's my number 1 favorite Kevin Smith film of all time. Yeah. All right, well, there we go. There's my my ranking for my favorite Kevin Smith films, ranked from my least favorite to my favorite. So in the comments, give me your ranking for Kevin Smith's films. It doesn't have, if you haven't seen every single one of his films, then just do the ones that you have seen, and or just say like your top 5 or top 3, or just say your favorites. Say your least favorite. Say your favorite and least favorite. There we go. So, and also, if you have any recommendations to directors that you want me to do a ranking for, just put down in the comments, and I will probably do it. It'll take a while, but I'll still do it. I have on the list, I got David Lynch, Martin Scorsese, and the Coen brothers. So I will be doing those, but any other director, just put on the list. I really appreciate it. Put down in the comments, and I'll put it on the list. There we go. So, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you again soon. Probably another top 5 lists, before I do a review. I'm going to do another. I think I will do my top 5 favorite Leonardo DiCaprio films. So look out for that. All right. So anyways, I'll see you then. Okay. Peace.